action all started back on Friday with practice and qualifying, a race for both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 on Saturday. Ready to cap things off as USF Pro 2000 ready to wrap up their doubleheader here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this USF Pro Championships, brought to you by Cooper Tires. And joining me here, Nikita Johnson, already a race winner earlier today as he gets his first victory of the 2023 season. It's going to be a fantastic day here. A lot more humid than it was, I think, yesterday. The NTT IndyCar Series wrapped up their main event as well. And again, we're ready to wrap things up, as I said, with USF Pro 2000. But we kicked things off early today. Nikita Johnson, we were here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Even before that, you were able to get your first win here in USF 2000 for VRD Racing. Can you put it into words what it means to win this early in the season?
Yes, I mean, it's amazing, even to win early race, but this is my hometown and my hometown Grand Prix, so it's really very, very great to win in front of my family and friends and some of the sponsors here, so I'm just super stoked and pretty excited for the season.
What did you feel like when you got the day started? Because obviously you say you live in nearby Gulfport, Florida here, not very far away from the racetrack. Was there more pressure being here because of that?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, I had like around 100 people watching me in the stands, so yeah, it was a bit of pressure. But I just once I got strapped in the car, I just cleared my head, focused, and focused on the win, and that's what we got.
All weekend long with more rubber going down, the NTT IndyCar Series out there, Indy Next out there as well, putting all this rubber down. The grip kept coming up. Interesting for you guys because you raced yesterday evening, almost the last race of the day, and then of course you raced the first race of the day today. Was there any differences in the track itself? Maybe the sand blowing on over the evening?
Yeah, I mean today felt a little bit dusty. I don't think we had anybody in front of us racing. So yesterday was a bit grippier, but it was also greasy because of that at the very end of the day, and the sun's been on it a whole day. And this morning wasn't as greasy, but a bit dusty, and we just pushed through it. One
of the things that the drivers in USF Pro 2000 are going to have to deal with is not that dust that we had this morning, but instead the extra rubber from the NTT IndyCar Series Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, which just wrapped up. Our drivers, of course, down on pit lane now getting things ready to go. Last minute, let's get one more question for you, Nikita. Obviously big for you. You start the season off. We're only 3 weeks away from St. Petersburg. How much does this win, or does it even change your mindset for the rest of the season? I mean, it's a little bit of a confidence boost, but I just take it 1 week at a time, clear my head. I don't get cocky. I mean, last year was very great, at Portland and all those tracks. We were trying to get the win in USF 2000. This weekend we finally got it after all the winter testing. And, it's just amazing. Just 14 years of age, folks. He'll be 15 in May. Keep an eye on Nikita Johnson. But again, we have a lot of rookie drivers, just like we have in USF 2000, running in USF Pro 2000 as well. Those drivers all getting set to go. And after this break, we'll come back. We'll run down the entire grid before we go racing with the final event of the weekend here in St. Petersburg.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
And welcome back to live coverage of the USF Pro 2000 presented by Cooper Tires Championship Series here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Indeed, the NTT IndyCar Series main event wrapping up. A tremendous run there for Marcus Ericsson as he is able to overcome so many different storylines, different drivers out front. And somehow, some way, he was once again able to work his way to the front. A little issue for Pato Award. And Erickson able to slide through. But, of course, we got one more race to go to cap off this opening round of the U.S. Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires, the program formerly known as the Road to Indy. USF Pro 2000, the top level of this series, which continues to feed drivers into the Indy Next series. Of course, 19 drivers in the Indy Next category. And congratulations to all those drivers for a tremendous battle there today. We're looking forward to getting going. We have 20 drivers ready to roll on track. We are on a bit of a hold right now, coming after the NTT IndyCar Series Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. If you watch that race potentially as well, there was a lot of rubber marbles all over the racetrack, so they're doing their best to get that cleaned up. There was a lot of carnage as well. They're bringing those cars in from far parts of the racetrack, out in turn number 8, 9, over in 10. There was a lot of contact, as we know, in turn 4. So getting some cleanup done as well. Water spill over in turn 1. So the crew's very, very busy here before we get ready to go. Todd Lewis joined me once again, having just wrapped things up for Victory Lane. Of course, Marcus Ericsson with that big win. You look at the drivers in the top 10 who we have seen in this USF Pro Championships. Todd Pato Award, of course, battle for a championship in both the USF Pro 2000 category and Indy Next. And then you roll down the line and see drivers further there, like a David Malukas, like a Connor Daly, like a Stingray Robb, Cal Kirkwood, Joseph Newgarden, of course, an Indy Next champion a number of years ago as well. So great to see those young drivers running there in IndyCar, but we got the future stars still to come.
This is the validation that the USF Pro Championships are definitely the feeder series. Indeed. If you have sights set on IndyCar, the ultimate step to reach the NTT IndyCar Series, this is the proven path of success. So many teams that are in multiple levels of the USF Championships, and so many teams that have been there for so many years and understand the process to bring in young drivers, to help coach them, help develop them, and hone their skills, improve their racecraft so that they can accelerate up the line. Maybe they stay with the same team all the way through. Some do wind up changing, but it is a proven path to move your way forward.
Well, we obviously got a chance to watch the Indy Next race, and of course a number of drivers were up front there battling back and forth, whether it was Louis Foster or Jacob Abel. Daniel Frost ends up going to the win, and I actually posted up on my USF Pro Insider Twitter page that 7 of the top 10 drivers in today's Indy Next race, all winners in USF Pro 2000. Not even just drivers, all winners, because you can add in Kiffin Simpson, who'd driven there before, Jacob Abel, all but one driver, Ernie Francis Jr. 9 of the drivers had raced in USF Pro 2000. So that's what this program's all about, developing these guys and girls to get them ready to make the move into that series that is really just one step away from IndyCar.
We had a great race yesterday in the USF Pro 2000 series with Christian Brooks scoring the victory, and we talked about the redemption and the comeback, if you will, of Christian Brooks, who a year ago was opening the season at this event and had problems in qualifying and a crash, and it put him on the sidelines. Well, he comes back a year later and has a great day, has a great run, and scores a victory in the return to the streets of St. Petersburg.
And you do even deeper dive into it. He has raced in 5 races here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. 2 the first year in USF 2000, 2 the second year, and of course this first one here this year. He's won 4 of those 5 races. He's only lost 1 race he's been in here. Of course, not last year because he never started. He wrecked in qualifying. So he's 4 for 5. Going to be a little harder to do, I think, here today. He's going to start a little deeper in the field. We'll have a look at the grid a little bit later on. We're still at least maybe 6 minutes away at the best, I think, from getting ourselves going. Talking to race control, a potential 350 command to start engines, but we don't even have our trucks, our tuggers and the teams and all the cars on pit lane yet. So we're still a ways away, but nonetheless, as you said, Christian Brooks yesterday, the emotion that he had, we talked to him with the media afterwards on the podium. He had a little tear on the podium, trying to choked up a little bit, because you look back at the fact any driver doesn't want to sit out. And here he is coming into the season, got a great program going back in 2022. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack in practice. He thinks he's going to walk out here with a couple more wins. He loves this racetrack. Destroys a race car, clears out the budget essentially for him to go racing for the remainder of the season. He's on the sidelines all year long. A young driver into his early 20s, ready to on the cusp of going potentially to the Indy Next series, and just sees it all dry up in one corner.
Well, it's interesting that it says a lot about the young man to make that comeback too, and understand that, all right, I got to sit on the sidelines for a little while now. You could go a couple of different directions there. You could become frustrated, agitated, and it derails your career. Instead, it almost seems as if he became more focused and more determined, and I'm going to make that comeback. And so far, a success this weekend.
Agreed. I've watched him over the last few months hitting the gym really hard. His coach, Chris Chamara, working with him aggressively to get him into good shape. Hey, when you're sitting on the sidelines not driving a car for a while, there's those specific muscles that you have in your body. You're not working. So Christian was in the gym working hard, like so many of the other drivers were as well. Obviously, everybody steps up to the USF Pro 2000 has to, take their fitness level up a couple of notches. Christian most definitely did that. And obviously came out, knows the racetrack, and put down the performance. Like I said, though, this field, the biggest field we've had since 2014, Todd, and it is stacked with talent. There's at least 10 drivers or more that I think could break through for a race win, which I think is what makes this so exciting.
We got a couple of minutes to go just before we get the cars out and grid it up and give the command to fire engines. But you want to have that large field have the best possible conditions as well, too, because we've seen that this track can be tricky and challenging and trouble in every series that has raced, including the one that just finished, the NTT IndyCar Series. But so that's why they're taking a little extra time, clean up, do the sweep of the track, so these drivers can really get after it and show the skills that they've got.
Let's take the time right now, as we are, I'm told, a potential for 350 command. I think it's going to be a little bit later than that right now, but let me run you through the grid because we won't have time once they get these cars out. I would believe that they'll probably fire the cars up, bring them right out onto pit lane, shut them down, refire them, and go. So let's have a look at the grid, as I said, for this Discount Tire Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, the second round of the 2023 USF Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires. 20 drivers in the field. Out of Brazil for Neotech Racing, Nick Monteiro in the number 81 is going to start in the 20th spot. Had a better run yesterday, but a mechanical put him on the sidelines while he was running inside the top 12. Lindsey Brewer will start alongside Nick in the number 93 exclusive Autosports C4 Energy Machine. So Brewer in the number 93 and Monteiro in the 81. That'll be row number 10. Row 9 on the outside, Jackson Lee out of Avon, Indiana in the number 47 for Turn 3 Motorsports. And on the inside of that, Roy Bajoy Garg driving for D-Force Racing in the number 7. Row number 8 will have Ricardo Escoto, the Mexican, in the number 4 for J. Howard Driver Development, starting 16th. And on the inside, Yuvan Sundermurthy out of Delafield, Wisconsin, a winner in USF 2000. A couple of great podium finishes last year as well. Yuvan in his second year here for Exclusive Autosport. His first year for Exclusive, second year of the series. He'll drive the number 90. Row number 7 on the outside, Jordan Missing out of Illinois in the number 19 for Pabst Racing. He'll start 14th alongside fellow Illinois driver Christian Weir in the number 32 for TJ Speed. Row 12 into the top dozen, Jonathan Brown, the Irishman, in the number 2 for Turn 3 Motorsports, starting in the 12th spot on the inside. From Mexico, Salvador de Alba, 2 times a winner last year in USF Pro 2000, running this year with Exclusive Autosport. De Alba in the number 91, scheduled to start in 11th. We'll work our way into the top 10 right now. Jack William Miller out of Indianapolis in the number 40 for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports, starting in the 10th spot. And on the inside, wearing the scholarship colors of the now Discount Tire Driver Development Scholarship Program, that is Michael D'Orlando. He won the USF 2000 Championship last year, and with that, a scholarship to move to Pro 2000. The driver from Hartsdale, New York, racing with Turn 3 Motorsport. D'Orlando starting in 9th. Row number 4, we'll have Reese Ushijima, a Californian-American who has spent his entire open-wheel career running in Europe. His first time back here in North America running in this program. He has teamed up with J. Howard Driver Development, had a good run yesterday. Ushijima in the number 6 will start 8th. Alongside him out of Sweden, second last year in the GB3 Series overseas, Joel Gramforce for Exclusive Autosport in the number 92. He'll launch from the inside of row number 4, P7. Row 3 has Christian Brooks. We've talked a lot about him already. Brooks out of Santa Clarita, California, gets the win. He's 4 for 5 winning races here at St. Petersburg. He'll have to start from the outside of row number 3 today in that Turn 3 Motorsports number 3 machine. And on the inside, Miles Rowe, one of our championship contenders last year in USF 2000, driving for Pabst Racing with Force Indy. Rowe in the number 99, going to start 5th. He was on the podium yesterday, looking to keep that streak going. Row number 2 on the outside. This will be our first chance really to see what Liram Zendelli can do. A German driver racing under the Albanian flag. Zendelli for TJ Speed in the number 10 has F3 and F2 experience. looking to press the reset button on his career here in North America. He'll start in the 4th position after a tough day yesterday. And on the inside of that row, with one of the other drivers who was in the USF 2000 championship battle all the way down to the wire on Labor Day weekend in Portland, Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona for Pabst Racing. Denmark in the number 20, starting in 3rd. 20 drivers in the field, put 2 on the front row. Off pole, a former winner of the USF 2000 championship, a winner last year here in Pro 2000 as well. The Brazilian Kiko Porto for D-Force Racing in the number 12, scheduled to start now in the 2nd position. Outside of the front row, as the driver returns the best lap here to be able to get the pole position, a rookie in the series from Italy for TJ Speed, Francesco Pizzi in the number 55. Will start on the pole position. First career pole in this program for Pizzi. It'll be Pizzi and Porto on the front row. Denmark and Zendelli on row 2. Rowe and Brooks on row 3. Grand Force and Ushijima on row number 5. D'Orlando and Miller on row 6. De Alba and Brown on row 7. Weir and Missing on row 8. Sooner and Murley alongside Ascoto on row number 9. Garg and Lee on row 10. And Brewer and Monteiro on row number 10, rather. It was Garg and Lee on row number 9. So 20 drivers set to go, and not surprising, getting more word from race control. We're pushing down to potentially 4 and 4:05. A lot of work to be done on the track by the track crews. It's been a long day for them already. Water spillage in 1, bringing all the cars in from that boneyard we had back over in turn 5, 6, and 7. So much contact in the IndyCar race there. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer. The funny thing is the drivers are all bolted into their cars in the pre-grid ready to go. This is a mental time for them to be able to stay focused, just relax. Maybe have the belts off right now, but they'll have to cinch them down pretty soon when we get them back out on the grid.
They'll get the word pretty quickly that, all right, we're close to going. So then it's a matter of refocusing on the job at hand. And this is also, while it's an unusual experience, it's a bit of a learning experience for these drivers as well, because everything that they do is built on advancing up to the next level through the ladder system. So you're going to have delays at different times, whether it's during a race, before a race, the schedule gets somewhat disrupted. So now you have to adjust and understand how to deal with it. I'm curious to see, once they do get out on track, how some of the drivers deal with their starting positions too. We saw Christian Brooks, who skated away with almost a perfect race yesterday, but the challenge is going to be greater today because he was going to have to start in the 5th position. So again, because of the way the qualifying procedure works, you have the qualifying session that provisionally sets the grid for race number 2, but some drivers have a faster lap in race 1, so they can use that so it shuffles the deck once again. Again, it's a part of the learning process.
And when you start pole, you get out front, you don't have to deal with the deadly aero wash, right? Where you start losing the air on the front wing, the car starts skating a little bit, you get close, you lose the front end into the quicker corners. This time, Brooks is going to have to deal with that starting back in the 6th spot. 3rd row outside, coming into turn number 1. He'll look to kind of pick his way through. He was the winner yesterday by 0.6 of a second. Kiko Porto and Miles Rowe finished 2nd and 3rd. 4th and 5th, Francesco Pizzi, who will change his fortunes today, starting on the pole position with an opportunity to potentially stretch away. Jace Denmark coming home in 5th spot. Reese Ushijima in his debut, finishing in 6th. Salvador de Alba, Yuvan Sundermurthy, and Joel Grandforce 7th, 8th, and 9th for Exclusive Autosport. And then the turn 3 motorsport driver, Jonathan Brown, finishing in that 10th spot. Of course, his teammate up there, P1 Christian Brooks. All 4 of those drivers from turn 3 looking to find more speed here and again working their way up to see if they can't fill up that top 5. I will say this, folks, Cooper Tire is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the USF Pro Championships. Be sure to visit them today at the Cooper Tire display for a free gift. And while you're there, check out the all-new Discoverer Rugged Trek, the ultimate suburban cruiser. It's an all-season tire featuring an aggressive tread design that delivers excellent traction and comfort on concrete. For more information, visit coopertire.com or follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Team Cooper Tire. One of the big things we talked about early throughout the weekend, really just announced, I believe, on Thursday or Friday, was a brand new association, Todd, that the series has with Discount Tire as well. A major brand, a major player in the tire and wheel retail sector, and great to have them on board. They have essentially stepped up to brand our Discount Tire Driver Advancement Scholarship. $1.3 million up for grabs, and Discount Tire part of that action. A brand new partner for us, and again, just helping to solidify this fantastic program that took a rebranding on during the offseason.
That certainly did, but the goal is still the same, to bring in drivers, whether it's from the karting or other open wheel formula disciplines, bring them into perhaps the USF Juniors for some to start, especially in the karting, then move up through USF 2000, USF Pro 2000. The teaching, the learning, it's part of what attracts the drivers to this system, but you can't talk about the ladder system and not talk about the scholarships, because there are so many drivers who will say that my career would not have continued if I didn't have the support of the scholarship system. It simply wouldn't have continued because I didn't have the finances available.
And the beauty of this program is it's one linear line. You know, when you're in Europe, there's different things you can do. There's all the different F4 programs you can get into. There's the Freca series. There's all these different series that you can jump into, GB4, GB3. If you're a karter here, you know what to do. You're a go-kart racer. Our new official racing school is the Skip Barber Racing School and the Skip Barber Formula Car Series. If you win that Formula Car Series, it's a $100,000 scholarship to move your way up into USF Juniors. And from USF Juniors, you just keep working your way up the ranks. And again, the better you do, the better you can. You just keep working away. Folks, we're still waiting to clean things up right now, being told by Race Control, potentially 4 o'clock, 4:05. Don't go anywhere, folks. When we get back after this quick break, we'll have a look at the lineup once again and hopefully be able to call to fire up these engines and get ready for the final race of the weekend.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Is the USF Pro Championships, the world's greatest motorsports ladder program with a proven formula, where top junior drivers from around the world come to compete across the best tracks in North America, where the opportunity to climb to the top is guaranteed, promoting every champion to the next stage, where champions are made and legends established. 52 races, over 50 up-and-coming drivers, and 3 scholarships valued at over $1.3 million. The USF Pro Championships, tomorrow's champions, forged today.
As I look across the racetrack into the pre-grid, which is located just on the outside of the long front straightaway of Albert Whitted Airport, drivers have worked their way back to their cars. Finally, we see the drivers arriving on their scooters, whatever it may be, getting the suits put back on, helmets back on. They're going to get back into these race cars. They jumped out because we had such a long period of time, but that this signals that we're about set to go again. Started before the break, talked about some of the great partners that we have involved in this USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires. This program we rebranded the off-season, formerly known as the Road to Indy. One of those is, of course, VP Racing Fuels. And if you've been around racing for any period of time, you've heard of VP. They are the exclusive fuel supplier for all 3 levels of our USF Pro Championships. In 2021, VP expanded their role and are also the official lubricant and coolant of the series. In addition to the VP Racing engine oil and VP Racing gear oil, this includes the VP Racing's new line of Stay Frosty Performance engine coolants, fully formulated engine coolants that provide greater heat transfer in order to remain cool, prevent overheating, and allow performance at optimal levels. And again, that's one of the things, Todd, when you're cranking out horsepower like we are, like everybody is, it's all the consumables, all the stuff that makes this happen. Fuel makes it go, oil makes it slippery, and the Stay Frosty makes it cool. So everything that's got to be done, everything's got to be perfect to make sure they run at the optimum performance possible.
That's right. You want all the best partners that you can get involved with this USF Pro Championships as well, and it's great to have so many signed on to help continue to develop talent, grow talent, move talent further up the ladder, because we're always looking for talented and skilled drivers to move through the ranks and take over, because there's always a new generation coming moving forward.
As we sit and get ready to go, we're still kind of looking at the results screen here as well of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and every time I do that, I just look through and think about all the drivers that we have watched here over the so many years, the Stingray Robs, Kirkwood, that have come through since 2010 alone, Felix Rosenquist in the Indy Next Series, Herta, VK, Harvey. You keep going down the order to the Petersons, the Dailies, back up through David Malukas. To watch all these drivers that have come through, Pato Award, that's what this program's all about. And for those of you at home are not watching or are not here with us, it's not just about the drivers either, really, because if you've been in the paddock, you can walk over into the NTT IndyCar Series paddock, and it's like old home week if you're part of the USF Pro Championships, because mechanics are there, PR people are there, team managers, darn teams are there right now. Juncos Hollinger Racing was a huge part of the USF Pro Championships for many, many years, won a lot of championships with some great drivers, and they have fully moved into now at the NTT IndyCar Series, and of course Indy Next as well.
It is a training ground for everyone, whether it's mechanics, whether it's team managers and teams, as you mentioned themselves. It is a great opportunity to learn at a development stage level. It's the competition is there, the challenge is there, but the understanding is that everybody is there to learn and develop and grow talent moving forward. And this is where the future stars of IndyCar and other series as well will be developed. Not everyone graduates to the NTT IndyCar Series, but there are lots of drivers that go on and have great careers in other disciplines.
Yeah, you look at drivers like Matthew Brabham, like Aaron Telitz, who's become a factory GT driver. Matthew Brabham's driven a ton of stuff, whether it be in the Indy 500, Trans Ams, the Stadium Super Trucks, and there are, like you said, there are drivers who have moved on to different disciplines of the sport as well. But when you run at this level, on this playing field as well, it's not just this level, the playing field itself, running at an NTT IndyCar Series weekend, 4 sessions on the racetrack, the pressure you have, the people, the fans watching, the autograph sessions, the Q&As, everything we do for these young drivers is to try to hone them, put that pressure on them so they come out the other side as a diamond.
It's a good point you make, too, is that it's one thing about the being in the car and the track sessions, all the debriefs that you do with the team, understanding and looking at data, but it's all the other peripheral stuff, too, that drivers and teams need to learn about as well. How to attract and find sponsors and partners to move forward. That's also part of the development. Learning, and every time I talk to one of these young drivers, in whether it's USF Juniors or USF 2000 or USF Pro 2000, I am amazed at the maturity and skill development that they have shown, and in having a conversation and understanding how to present themselves, how to present their partners in the best possible fashion. It is only going to help them in all facets of their life.
And the development year on year. You'll see them once a year here, wherever you see them. They're so much different every time you see them each year, because they mature, they grow. Not only do they physically grow, sometimes they start with us, they're 5'5", they end up being 6 feet tall when they're all said and done, but they mature as young men and women as well, which I think is one of the most exciting things. I believe we may have the cars kind of fired up over here right now. We are looking to get ready to bring them onto the front straightaway. As I had said earlier, Francesco Pizzi for TJ Speed is going to start in the pole position in the number 55 alongside Kiko Porto, a former USF 2000 champion, the Brazilian in the number 12 for D Force Racing. That's your front row. First career start, pole position start, second career start for Pete here in the USF Pro Championships. He has really put his name into the discussion out of the gate, no doubt about that. Chase Denmark, a driver we know for the last couple of years, running in USF 2000, a race winner here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg last year. He'll start third in the number 20 Pabst Racing Machine with Liram Zandelli, the F2 and F3 driver in the number 10 for TJ Speed. We're starting to release our crews. The crews are working their way out with the pit gear. They are coming out onto the pit lane, so we're looking forward to getting going here momentarily. We'll see Miles Rowe start alongside yesterday's winner, Christian Brooks, on row number 3. Miles was a multi-time winner last year, was a championship contender in USF 2000. Fell just short in getting that crown for Pabst Racing, but has looked good moving up with the team that's based out of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Rowe looked good yesterday, was on the podium, and we'll look to do that again here today. Christian Brooks, of course, the winner yesterday, as we had mentioned, would love to go back-to-back. This guy's essentially, when it comes to junior formula racing, the king of St. Petersburg. He's 4 for 5, swept one of the USF 2000 weekends, almost did the other one, but had an issue on the racetrack with contact and wins again here yesterday. So 4 wins out of 5 starts for Christian Brooks here. The Turn 3 Motorsport driver, the OFTV machine, will be on the outside of row number 3. Joel Granforce and Aris Ushijima, 2 drivers who have lots of experience running in Europe, coming over here to the North American circuits for 2023. Granforce out of Sweden, your GB3 runner-up from last year alongside Aris Ushijima with a ton of experience in European competition. Late signing, just got... I think we just kind of found out about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe, that Reese was coming over with Jay Howard Driver Development. Good to have him here, bolstering our series in terms of its strength and the grid size as well. Capping off the top 10, Michael D'Orlando, another USF 2000 champion, wearing those scholarship colors on his Turn 3 Motorsport car, starting 9th, and Jack William Miller in the Miller Vinatieri Motorsports car will round out the top 10.
It's interesting you mentioned the scholarship winner of Michael D'Orlando, and those that were so close to winning that same scholarship last year. Miles Rowe, as he mentioned, goes down to the final weekend. He was in probably a better position to win than Michael D'Orlando. However, things didn't always work out as expected going through the season. So now both have jumped up to the USF Pro 2000 series, and the battle resumes again.
Yeah, all 3 of them with Chase Denmark
in
there,
right,
too.
It's Chase Denmark, too. So now the battle resumes again, and that's part of the competition level improving. That develops the skills as well. The intense competition, battling against those same opponents as you move up through the ladder.
That's happened for so many years, isn't it? You end up at USF 2000, now USF Juniors. You've got that rivalry with a couple of drivers. You're just going to watch that rivalry go all the way through to the NTT IndyCar Series for sure. But yeah, you're right. The battle, really, what did it come down to last year? It came down to the first 2 corners or 3 corners at Portland. Those festival curves, that first complex of corners, the right, left, right combination, really stacks things up, and it really made things interesting in the championship last year.
Yeah, how often has that festival curve gotten a lot of attention from, again, whichever series, whether it's in the USF Pro Championships or USF 2000 or others that have it has caught people out. And again, but again, learning the challenges and nuances of different racetracks is part of what the development ladder is all about. Nobody can test here, so every year that you get to come back, you get to learn and experience, whether you're beginning with the USF 2000 series and moving up to USF Pro 2000. You'll take what you've learned, move forward, and understand with a new car, take that learning and put it to good use out on the track.
And you talk about the craziness of that opening corner at Portland, right? The issues with Miles Rowe and Chase Denmark, not able to kind of get through there cleanly. Michael D'Orlando did. He was able to come through. You go back to a guy like Kyle Kirkwood, who didn't qualify on pole, I don't think, either of the years when he ran USF 2000 there. But somehow he came out of the corner first every time. The guys were wrecking all around him, and emerging out of the cloud was Kyle Kirkwood every time. I don't know, an uncanny ability to stay out of trouble. Wasn't able to do that here today. He had a lot of trouble today pushing so hard in his Andretti Autosport machine. But, yeah, we're going to do it again. You know these championships are going to come all the way down to Portland on Labor Day weekend. And very nice to hear, and if you're obviously watching it as well, the cars have rolled their way out onto pit lane. Looking down here to see who we have on potential sticker tires. Yep, there's the number 6 of Risu Shijima. He's got fresh tires on. You wonder how many drivers potentially held on to a set of stickers. Some may be on the used tires as well. But nonetheless, we have ourselves a full field of 20 cars in USF Pro 2000. We have one of our guests from Anderson Interior Contracting down on pit lane to give us the command to fire. We're still a little over, I think, 3 minutes away from that. So drivers will just bring these cars down once again, and we'll give you another quick run-through of the grid before we fire things up. Looking forward for another race here today. So again, let's have a quick look through the grid. As I had said before, Nicholas Monteiro starting in the 20th spot. Lindsey Brewer in 19th. 18th will be Jackson Lee alongside Bajoy Garg. Row 8 will be Ricardo Escoto and Yuvan Sundaramurthy. Row 7 will see Jordan Missig alongside Christian Weir. On row 6, Jonathan Brown and Salvador de Alba. On row 5, it'll be Jack William Miller and Michael D'Orlando. On row 4, Reese Ushijima and Joel Granforth. On row number 3, Christian Brooks and Miles Rowe. Row 2 will see Liram Zendelli start alongside Chase Denmark and Kiko Porto on the outside heading down into turn number 1. But the driver, Todd, who will set the pace, Francesco Pizzi, for the first time will lead him out of turn number 12.
Yeah, interesting to see how this goes. Who's raced in the Formula 3 Championship. His experience over in Europe, a little different than the North American competition. But again, the choice was made to come to USF Pro 2000 because there's a path forward. It's a much more budget-friendly series than trying to race in some of the different Formula 3, Formula 4s in Europe. And there is a destination of the NTT IndyCar Series eventually as well.
There's Reese Ushijima right there. The American who spent so much time over in Europe. You saw Liram Zendelli a little while ago there as well, as in addition to Jace Denmark. Right behind them, there's Michael D'Orlando, the number 1 machine. You'll see the halo on the car. We brought that in last year. And now we'll move our attention to Francesco Pizzi, the Italian, for TJ Speed, team that's worked its way to a debut here this year in the USF Pro Championships. And Pizzi will look to settle himself in to be ready to go. There's the scholarship colors of Michael D'Orlando out of Hartsdale, New York. They've been working hard to put the partners and sponsors and investors together to keep that car on the racetrack throughout the entire year. Get some testing in for D'Orlando. He's been great coming out of the gate. That is for sure one of our D-Force cars. Kiko Porto and Bajoy Garg, the 2 drivers for D-Force Racing. That indeed is the number 12 of Kiko Porto, former USF 2000 champion. Porto, a talented driver from Brazil, and he will look to try to see if he can't come out of turn number 1 with the lead. There's Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona as well. A couple years in USF 2000. Excited to be here in this Pro 2000 category. Liram Zendelli. There's the 32 of Christian Weir as well. Doing a little bit to try to shade the heat, shade the sun. It is still fairly warm here. Track's at about 80 degrees here in St. Petersburg. The wind's still up, but not near as what it was like on Friday and Saturday. But again, these drivers have had to wait here after the NTT IndyCar Series wrapped things up. We had to bring cars in from the racetrack. Of course, some cleanup of some of the rubber that was out of the track as well. If you ended up watching the main event, the IndyCar race, there was marbles all over the racetrack. There's Jordan Missig there as well. For Pabst Racing, he's had a pretty solid start to the season, showing good speed to begin his sophomore program here in the Pro 2000 category. Further back to Yuvan Sundaramurthy, his second year as well, the driver from the University of Wisconsin, multi-time winner in USF 2000 competition. Well, folks, it's time to get things underway. We've got the cars out here, the crews are out here, and they've got 25 laps ahead of them, folks. We are about set to cap off the opening weekend of the USF Pro Championships, Pro 2000 drivers. 20 of them getting ready to go, and to give us the command to start engines, our guest from the Anderson Interior Contracting. Say hello to Carson Call.
On behalf of Anderson and Balfour Beatty, drivers, start your engines.
And there you go for the final time, Ty, for this weekend. We're firing up the engines, getting set to go. We'll have the drivers here in Pro 2000 getting ready to roll out. 25 laps of action. Let's see if we can go green to checker.
That would be ideal, just to get as much track time as you can. That's the objective. The first objective, that is repeated to these drivers and teams all through the weekend. Let's finish every lap of the race. As you've seen in other series that have run through this weekend here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, if you finish the race, your chances of a good result are pretty decent.
Very true.
We have had a significant amount of attrition in each of the different series this year. It's been turn that has caught so many drivers out this weekend. Will it hold true? We've had drivers in USF Pro 2000 that have had trouble in turn number 4. We'll wait and see as the cars begin to stream off of pit road, and they'll start to warm up their tires, and they're going to find some different track conditions here as well, because a 100-lap IndyCar race is going to put down an awful lot of rubber. The marbles will have been cleaned up and swept up significantly, of course, but this track condition is going to be very different than what they've experienced.
Oh, so true. 100 laps of IndyCar action out there, and again, they'll have a feel for it, working their way around the track. And one of the things I like to bring up on a regular basis is when we have these doubleheader weekends, depending on what happened in the opening race, you kind of change your mindset. If you had a really good opening race, you know what? Maybe I just want to get – you might not make a rougher move, maybe a more high-risk move simply because, hey, I've already had a good race. I got a second. I want another podium. But if you finish back in the pack, you could be ready to drop the hammer and work your way forward. So drivers will work their way around the racetrack here, and we'll get set to get things back underway. 3 races already in the books for the USF Pro Championships. 1 more to cap off the doubleheader for USF Pro 2000, the top level of our series. This class here feeds drivers into the Indy Next program, and you see them working their way out of turn number 10. Tough part of this racetrack is it narrows up so much on the exit. You really want to attack the corner, but there's just not a lot of runoff room. You got to be very precise. Come through this 11-12 complex into what I guess we'll call turn number 13. They say turn 13, 14. It's really a big 180. We'll call it 13 through 11, through 12, through 13. Pace car is headed to the pit lane. We're about set to go. 25 laps to cap off this year's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Here they come out onto the front straightaway. Pizzi on the inside. Porto on the outside. It is time to go racing to cap off a Sunday in Florida. Field nicely set. Looking for Aaron Likens. We're getting ready to fire things up. And we are green, green, green. Rocketing across the start-finish line. Here's the run down into turn number 1. Big wide run for Kiko Porto. I think he's going to come away with the lead. Indeed, he does. He uses the grip level on the outside, and Pizzi slotting back into second. So the off-pole sitter takes full advantage of the grip on the outside of the racetrack. Kiko Porto has gone into P1. Look at that low shot coming through turn number 3. They'll work throughout to turn number 4. There's Porto's lead coming from the outside. Chase Denmark getting aggressive. He's trying to go to the outside of 4. If you make that stick, Todd, you got the inside at turn number 5.
Nice job by these USF Pro 2000 drivers to get through these first couple of corners after a long delay to wait to get this race started. Good for them to show some discretion and patience, and let's get through these first couple of corners, and then we can really start to battle.
That's it. We'll go single file and start racing. Again, for them, they're all trying to get a feel for the track at speed as well. Remember, this is the first time that they've rolled through all these corners at speed since all this IndyCar rubber has been put down. They've heard, of course, all the news of all the marbles, the clag that's out there, so they're doing the best they can to kind of work their way around. A couple of drivers diving to the inside of 11 and 12. We have a couple of aggressive movers coming out to turn at number 12 and 13. They'll work their way out here now. Being told one driver has a transponder issue. That's the number 93 of Lindsey Brewer. We'll keep an eye on Lindsey. There's a block down, move to the inside. I think that might have been Yuvan Sooner-Murthy trying to go to the inside of the racetrack, trying to hold off one of those turn 3 cars. I think he's able to hold that spot. Joel Gramforce slotting back in as well. I think that is potentially Sooner-Murthy scrapping with Weir, I believe. Weir and Brown. So everybody's settling in. Oh, big wiggle coming out of turn number 3. It's been a treacherous part of this racetrack. Almost caught a couple of drivers out further back.
Everybody still streaming through corner number 4, side by side through corner number 4. Looks like everybody uses their head, gets through okay. On that first lap as well, let's talk about Miles Rowe, who used the opportunity to jump up a position, in addition to Kiko Porto, who took over the lead on lap 1.
Again, we talk about it. You can lose a lot of spots. You can lose the race on the opening lap, but you can also gain positions. It's the time when you're side by side, a good opportunity just to take advantage of whatever line gets a better run. And indeed, we saw Porto move his way up into the lead. And Miles Rowe grab a spot as well. We'll give you a top 10 rundown next time they come through to put lap number 2 in the books. Just getting things underway here for USF Pro 2000, the top level of our USF Pro Championship ladder system. Coming across the line now, Kiko Porto out to a pretty solid little lead. It was 1.5 seconds after the opening circuit. It's 1.9 seconds now. So without that arrow wash, he's been able to pull away. Kiko Porto, P1, Pizzi in second, Denmark third, Rowe in the 4th spot. 5th is Zenzelli. 6th, right where he started, is Christian Brooks. Joel Granforth started 7th, runs 7th. Risu Shijima in 8th, Salvador de Alba in 9th, and Michael D'Orlando now into the 10th position, dropped 1 spot. Really not a lot of big movers in terms on the racetrack. Everybody kind of settling in here right now. Really 1-2 positions from when they started, Todd.
No, good job by everyone so far. You saw just a little puff of smoke from one of the drivers heading towards corner number 4. That's not surprising. We've seen that occur a number of times throughout this race weekend, but everybody holding station and moving through. And now that we've got a couple of 3 laps under our belt, I think everybody's probably feeling a little bit more comfortable, especially Kiko Porto, who really seems to be legging out that lead. Now we've got a yellow.
Indeed. Caution flag coming out here. Not sure exactly what happened here, but we have a full course yellow. The driver has had some kind of an issue. Full course yellow, just 2 cores in. Being told potentially the number 93 somewhere. We'll see what we can do to find out exactly what happened on the racetrack, folks. As there has been an issue on track. The field will slow. 1.9 second lead for Kiko Porto goes by the wayside. He would love to have, I think, seen it gone green to checker. 93 is back here to the tail of the field, so I don't see anybody else following. I'm not sure exactly why we went yellow, unless there maybe was some kind of debris potentially on the racetrack. See if we can find out what potentially might have happened there. Full course yellow, 93 indeed at the tail of the field. That's Lindsay Brewer. She's having a transponder issue, I'm told, looking at live timing. She has not she's not getting any laps at all, but currently runs in that 20th position. Yuvan Sundermurthy had fallen potentially down into 19th spot, but no, I think, yeah, I think that's just live timing, having trouble with Sundermurthy's transponder. He had an issue with it yesterday as well. I don't think he's back in 19th. It looks to me like Bajoy Garg runs in that 19th spot, so again, issues with the transponder potentially for Yuvan Sundermurthy.
Let's hope that this is just a quickie yellow then, and we can get this problem cleared up. Safety vehicles have already been dispatched out on track.
Being told potentially Yuvan Sundermurthy off in turn number 3. You can see the driver, our AMR safety team, rolling around the track. So it's potential an issue for Yuvan Sundermurthy actually off the racetrack. I'll try to pick him up visually. Again, that was called in from race control. So tough one for Yuvan, as there it is right there. So we got this camera back up and running. Yuvan Sundermurthy has come to a stopover in turn number 3. Not sure what happened to Yuvan. But a rough day all told for a driver who's got a couple of race wins. Yesterday finishing in the 8th spot. Decent run for him yesterday, having started 10th. He would like to have capped it off, I think, with a top 5 finish. But, again, we're not quite sure. Here it is here. We'll see if there's, rolling by. Didn't get a chance really to see a good shot of where the contact may be. The left rear looks pretty good. Whatever it may be, it's up on the hook, which means it's not rolling. So there is some kind of damage to the machine of Yuvan Sundermurthy, and that is tough after a good start. That'll drop him a little bit deeper in the points.
Unfortunate to have his race weekend end this way. As you mentioned, depending on how you do in race 1 will kind of dictate how you approach race number 2 sometimes. Yeah. So Sundermurthy scores a top 10 finish yesterday, thinking, good, that's a decent finish, picking up a couple of spots from his starting position. Come back today, you want to at least back that up. If you can come out of race weekend number 1 with a couple of top 10 finishes, that's not exactly where you want to be in terms of a championship contender, but at least gives you a solid footing to move forward at the next event.
The big thing is we talked about the fact that drivers going faster yesterday. You're able to use your, in qualifying, 2 laps in qualifying. The fastest lap in qualifying sets the grid for race number 1. Your second fastest lap sets the grid for race number 2. Well, the track kept getting faster and faster. Race number 2, if you go faster in race 1 than your second fastest lap, you can use that time instead. A number of drivers did that. That's what allowed Francesco Pizzi to go to P1. Yuvan Sundermurthy, though, did not get a faster lap. He ended up falling to 15th, so a much different starting spot for Yuvan back there, P15. Not surprised he may have got pitched into the wall somewhere. We don't have any kind of a replay on that. Weren't able to see what happened to Yuvan, but indeed, the yellow flag coming out a couple of laps into this one here. The AMR IndyCar safety crew got over there to him, got the car up on the hook very quickly, and I would expect we'll be going back to green this time by. So an early yellow. We'll see Kiko Porto as the leader. He had a 1.9 second advantage. That goes away quite quickly. Pizzi now in second, Rowe third, Denmark fourth, Zendelli having a better run, currently runs in the 5th spot, Brooks in 6th, 7th is Grand Force, 8th Usajima, 9th is De Alba, and 10th is Michael D'Orlando. Just outside the top 10, Jordan Missing in 11th, Jack William Miller in 10th, Jonathan Brown in 8th, Christian Weir in 13th, 14th, 15th, Jackson Lee 15th, Nick Montiero 16th, Escota 17th, Garg 18th, and Lindsay Brewer will be 19th on the track.
Looking to see, but it looks like the lights are out on the pace car, and everybody getting set for a restart as they're coming around through corner number 10 now and headed towards 11 and 12.
So here the drivers come for this restart now. They'll work their way out of turn number 10 to get things rolling here. Through the 11-12 complex, a very fast part of this racetrack at speed. Although Porto will crawl him through to see if he can't stack him up coming to 12. That's the key. Get the car turned, diamond that corner, get it straight as quickly as you can, get back on the gas, and away he goes. Throttle down. Porto's going to take about a 4 or 5 car length lead across the start-finish line ahead of Francesco Pizzi. They'll work their way down into turn number 1. This will be the best opportunity for Pizzi maybe to get the draft to make the move to the inside. Not able to get that stick. A couple drivers a little further back, scrapping it out. You can see that. One of the J. Howard driver development cars, I think, going at it potentially with a Pabst car. Oh, there's more contact there as one driver with big issues coming through. One of the J. Howard cars has lost a rear wing coming through 2 and 3. There's Jack William Miller almost getting into the back of a car as well. So we have one driver with an issue with the wing. I would assume that we're going to have another full course yellow because I believe there's probably a rear wing sitting in the middle of the racetrack somewhere between turns 2 and turn 3. We saw the contact there. I'm thinking that might have been Ricardo Escoto in the number 4, but it may not. It may have been Risu Shijima actually in the number 6, to be honest. We'll see how it happens when they come back around here, but there's definitely an issue. Now, maybe that wing is out of the way and we're able to stay green, and we'll see what happens. They're working their way back around here now. There's Porto into the hairpin of turn number 13. They'll work their way out of that corner. He's got a pretty solid advantage. And indeed, full course yellow at start finish. Once again, full course yellow.
That's unfortunate, just as we got rolling again and we have contact, but this is the difficulty that we have. It looks like we're going to get a look at this incident coming out through the first couple of corners just after this restart.
Yeah, I think it was Reese Ushijima, as I had said. Not exactly sure what happened. We'll have a replay to have a look at here. It's a little further back in the replay, folks, so keep an eye further back. We'll see what happened to that J. Howard driver development pilot coming through. He's on the inside. And I want to say that potentially a couple guys, because he looks like he's got the Orlando right behind him getting caught up. He may have had some trouble because it's right rear damage as well. You can see the AMR safety crew already rolling in the back as they would, working their way out of that corner. I think probably coming over from turn number 1. Everybody tried to pinch to kind of that little turn 2. It kind of sticks out a little bit as you kind of come around there. Guys try to go 2x2. How many times we see guys rip corners off there, and just a right rear for Ushijima. That's it for him. He ends up losing the rear wing. And the problem there is once that happens, he's, of course, out of power. He can't get back on the throttle. It stacks everybody up behind him because I want to say he was running probably 6th or maybe 7th, I think, when they came down into turn number 1.
That's the difficulty with that corner as well, with the right-hander coming through 1. If you have the contact and it sends some debris out on the track, the visibility is limited there as the track narrows down and everybody tends to pile up pretty quickly.
Well, you're committed coming through that corner. You have to be.
Otherwise, you're not going to get through at speed and be able to keep that lap time. So yeah, that's it's unfortunate, but hopefully it looks like a pretty quick cleanup, and we'll again be able to get back to some green flag racing pretty soon.
Pace cars got back out, as we said. Drivers not showing a lot of patience here in the final race of the year, and it makes me wonder what kind of race we're going to have this year. I think everybody is so fired up coming into this new season. They realize that the level of competition in this category has never been this high. In the time we've had this program within the Anderson Promotions portfolio from 2013 on, we've never had a level of competition like we have right now. 20 cars, the biggest field we've had since 2014, and the level, like I said, 10, 11, 12 drivers could win at any given weekend.
And this is the top level of the USF Pro Championships as well. From here you want to graduate to up to Indy Next, eventually the NTT IndyCar Series, and so you're reaching your final exams in your senior year, if you were, and it's time to show what you have to hopefully present yourself as the best candidate for that college application.
And we haven't talked about this yet. They're running for $650,000 at the end of the year. This isn't nothing. These guys are literally racing for big money, and in their mind, for a lot of the times, it's for the extension of their career. They're racing for their lives. They're racing lives here right now because some of these guys don't have the money. And that's one of the things that attracts drivers from Europe to come here. They're in Europe. They're running in the GB3 series. They're running in whatever it may be, the Formula Regional European, the FRECA series. And literally, they know that they don't have the money. They don't have to physically have the money to be able to move into the FIA F3 series. This is really their only chance to come over here and potentially cash in on these scholarships, which have taken so many drivers like a Kyle Kirkwood all the way to the NTT IndyCar series.
Well, and look at a driver like Louis Foster, who did come over last year, had success, and has graduated and moved up. So again, his experience is in Europe, comes over, has success, and is now going to be able to further his career.
And knocks in a pole position here this weekend. Wasn't able to bring it home with a race win after some contact, but Louis Foster's the guy that's going to win Indy next races here in 2023. I can guarantee you that. So what this does is give us our fourth yellow flag period. We've been running our second yellow flag period, 4 or 5 laps now under the yellow. So the time winding down. Remember, we do have a certain time window, but it's a big window. We have 25 laps in 45 minutes, and really, we're the last race, too. We could probably keep going at the end. It's not like everybody's waiting after us to go back out on the racetrack. So right now, let's reset because we lost a driver in the top 10. Kiko Porto still the leader. Rowe second, Pizzi third, as Rowe was able to get by Pizzi in some of that chaos. We didn't see that. Miles Rowe now up into the second spot. Pizzi in third. Jace Denmark in the fourth position. Zendelli now runs in fifth as the pace car will bring him back down the front straightaway again. So at least one more run under the yellow. Porto, Rowe, Pizzi, Denmark, Zendelli. Then it's Christian Brooks holding station in sixth. Joel Grandforce in seventh. Jordan Missig eighth. Jack William Miller ninth. And Salvador de Alba rounding out the top 10. 11th is Brown. 12th is Weir. 13th is D'Orlando. Wonder whether or not there's damage to D'Orlando after potentially getting into the back of Ushijima. Then you go 14th for Jackson Lee. 15th for Nick Montiero. 16th for Escoto, 17th for Garg, 18th for Brewer. 2 drivers done for the day already, Reese Ushijima and Yuvan Sundaramurthy. Both those drivers, I think, are race winners this year, too. That's the thing about this series. Sundaramurthy can win. He showed he could win in USF 2000, some podiums as well last year. One of his best racetracks, he seems to always be on the podium at the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so look for Sundaramurthy to be good there. But yeah, both those drivers who are now struggling here with the DNF early in the season are guys I think we're going to see on top of the podium before we're all said and done.
Says a lot about the talent level on the USF Pro Championships. Drivers now making their way through corner number 4, that right-hander. A little bit of weaving back and forth, try to get a little bit of heat into those tires, and then hopefully stretching themselves around through the back part of the course and lined up once again for another restart. Currently working lap 9. It'll be hopefully a restart on lap number 10.
I wish I had my radio now to listen to race control to see if they had any words with these guys. Hey, come on. It's Sunday afternoon. Settle down. You're the top level of our program. You're the best of what we do over here. You've been here before. Let's settle down and do some racing. A couple drivers just getting too aggressive. And again, we didn't get a really good shot. The camera angle isn't really fantastic going through that turn 2 section. And we've seen many times where drivers have gotten together there and get pinched out. You're on the outside, drivers on the inside. You lean on them a little bit, and they're trying to clear that edge of the track that kind of comes back out. You'll see it when we have the shot where they come through and over to 3. Even though the walls are snaking like crazy, it's a one big, huge arc through the corner, right? It's just, if you get pinched out there when you come back to the right side, it can happen.
The idea is to straighten out the corners because when you're cornering, that's reducing the speed. You want to straighten them out and corner as little as possible.
Pace car has moved to pit lane, so we'll go back to racing. Kiko Porter will lead him back onto the throttle. This time, however, Miles Rowe of the Pabst Racing Force Indy machine is right there. He won here in USF 2000 competition last year early in this run. We're working lap number 10 right now. Does Rowe try it? He'll go to the outside, not going to be enough. There's a move to the bottom of the racetrack. That's Zendelli, I believe, going to the inside of Pizzi. So Liram Zendelli, I think, now up into the 4th position. Maybe even 3rd for Zendelli, as the TJ Speed drivers up on top of each other. They'll work their way to turn number 3 to 4. This is where things get hectic. How about 3 wide? Coming to the bottom. That's Jack William Miller thinking into the bottom. He locks it up a little bit. Luckily to get out of that one, that would have definitely been some chaos had he not got the thing woed up into the apex of turn number 4, coming back through 8 and 9. Everybody back single file. It's so narrow, Todd, coming through 5, 6, and 7 over to 8. You almost have to kind of close your eyes when they come through there because it's just so narrow.
The widest part of the course, the airport runway, that is about the tightest part of the course, about 26 or 27 feet wide, and it is very challenging to work your way through. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers manage to get, hopefully, now a green flag lap under their belt and start to settle in just a little bit.
Oh, that was one driver hard up over the curbing coming through turn number 12 into turn 13. And he's able to keep control of that car. Well done. Because he got pinched down to the bottom and really got aggressive coming through there. Miles Rowe, now your leader. Rowe has gone to the lead in the Pabst Racing Force Indy machine. Pabst Racing has come out of the gate swinging here in 2023. Last couple of years with this new car, this IP22, Todd, back from when we had the PM18 first, they kind of struggled a little bit with it. They were kind of a mid-pack field. They would move their way up into the top 5 occasionally, but the Augie Pabst-led team coming out of the gate really strongly. They were very good at the spring training event at Sebring just this past week on Monday and Tuesday, and they have looked very good here. A podium already for Miles Rowe. And listen, if you're putting a focus, a spotlight on some drivers, we watched it last year with Miles Rowe. This is a kid that has star power. He wants to win. He's got this drive, and he is a talent. Got a chance to come running with Force Indy when it first came in. They hooked up with Pabst Racing last year. He ended up winning some races, almost a championship. Now he's looking at potentially trying to leave here with a point lead.
Well, and how about the job that Miles Rowe has done in the first half of this race, dodging the difficulties in the first couple of cautions. From his 5th starting spot, he has managed to claw his way forward, restarted second after that last caution period, and took advantage right away to get around Kiko Porto, and now is trying to stretch out his lead to better than a second.
You know, away from the racetrack, away from the car, folks, this guy is a calm, cool customer. You know, he's very much into the arts and photography and really focuses on that kind of a skill set. But you bring him into the race car, put the helmet on, the guy's a tiger. He literally will attack. He's aggressive. He's very focused, and when he does attack, it's very decisive.
He is also, as you mentioned, a very engaging personality when you have a conversation with him, discussion. Graduated from the film school at Pace University. Yep. He has sights on, as you mentioned, on the arts, and he is a very inquisitive and wants to learn more kind of young man, and he's very the star power is best.
He's race. Unique. Think of somebody else in the NTT IndyCar Series with that kind of a focus for him. I just think he's such a great driver and a fantastic person as well. It's going to be great to watch. Miles Rowe leading by a full second. Could he continue this incredible run up through the ranks of open wheel racing? Force Indy working with Pabst Racing. And he has a big lead coming across the line. It was 1 second last time by. It is now 1.3. Miles Rowe pulling nicely ahead. Kiko Porto in the second spot. Jace Denmark's gone to second, so Pabst Racing really flexing their muscles now. Denmark into third. Zendelli fourth. Pizzi fifth. That's the two TJ Speed cars. Brooks in sixth, right where he started. Missing in seventh, so Pabst has their drivers in the top 7, all 3. To Alba, Grand Force, and Miller right there for the top 10. Christian Weir just on the outside looking in 11th.
Interesting that Francesco Pizzi has slid back just a little bit, of course, starting on the pole position for today's race, but has been swallowed up a little bit. I'm a little surprised, and maybe just because we had a couple of quick caution periods, to see if Christian Brooks can now begin to move forward through that. It's right about where he started. I think he may have lost one position, but that's just kind of basically holding station in the first half of this race.
Again, it's tough. The restarts, we had a couple of restarts. Those are the best opportunities coming down into turn number 1 where you're not worried about aero wash, because when you're trying to pass, you get the aero wash when you're trying to roll on through turn 13, right? When you get under the power, you don't have to worry about that because you're literally coming out a lot slower. It's that big run with the draft getting down into turn number 1 that allows you to do it on a restart. And we just haven't seen that from Christian Brooks. He was great from the pole yesterday, but he was never challenged with aero wash or any of that draft issue you would have.
Also, that's kind of part of the racecraft that drivers need to learn as well. You may make the pass there in corner number 1 that we just cut away from them, but that pass starts much earlier on the racetrack. Talking about coming through 11 and 12 in smooth fashion, and then getting through that hairpin corner properly so that you can get on the accelerator and, if necessary, use the draft down the long front straightaway before trying to make that pass, tucking inside in corner 1.
That is it exactly. We are now past the halfway point. 13 laps down, 12 to go. As we said, 2 caution periods earlier for a total of 5 laps, slowing the action. Kiko Porto had a almost 2-second lead at that point. That evaporated on that yellow, and it really has given the opportunity for Miles Rowe to come back out at 1.5 seconds. The lead now for Rowe in the number 99. Porto, Denmark, Zendelli, and Pizzi, your top 5, and Rowe flat checking out right now. We've seen this happen before. You give this driver an open racetrack, and he is going to take it. Had some issues, of course, last year, gunning for the USF 2000 championship, but that was some chaos at the start. Everybody was trying to lead out of the opening quarter in Portland. They were diving down the inside of each other and blocking to the bottom. There was contact. There was chaos. There was drivers everywhere. And both Denmark and Rowe, the two Pabst drivers who were really fighting for a championship, did not come out on the positive side of that. It was Michael D'Orlando who emerged from that scrap with the title. But again, Rowe with the opportunity, continuing with the partners and backers that he has to work his way up here into the USF Pro 2000 category. And hey, listen, when you can come out of the gate like he has, a podium in the first race, you win the second race, those people that are back at you, that are behind you, you're just going to make them smile and say, yeah, we've made a great choice here.
Yes, 100%. And Miles Rowe demonstrating his talent and ability here in the first couple of rounds of the USF Pro Championship on the streets of St. Petersburg. 11 laps to go out front with a 2.5 lead over Kiko Porto and Jace Denmark. And we mentioned that you want to get all the laps in and have as many laps on track as possible. You've also touched on the spring training that also took place, but depending on the team, depending on the budget, there's a lot more track time and testing available to some of these teams as well. And again, that's another reason why they want to be part of the USF Pro Championships, because of the ability to develop their skills and talent.
And think about this as well. Obviously, if you have the budget, you can do more testing. If you're with a bigger team that has 4 cars, everything's exponentially more, right? 4 drivers doing a full testing. All that data comes in. You're able to sit down and overlay all the data you possibly can. So the more drivers on the team, the more data you have, the more time you get to test, the better you're going to be when you roll into an opening race. And maybe not so much with a race like this, or like you said, you can't test at a track like St. Petersburg. You've never been here before. Every time you roll in, it's a brand new facility. When we head to tracks like the Mid-Ohio's, Indianapolis Road Course, Road America, those are tracks that, of course, you can test on and get a good feel for, build the baseline, and then come and attack on a race weekend. Different here for St. Petersburg, but really you just get in there, grab the wheel, and get after it.
And Sebring, like where the spring training took place, and all 3 levels of the USF Pro Championships will be there.
Indeed. We were back at Sebring International Raceway in 3 weeks' time to get things underway once again. USF Pro 2000 starting here at St. Petersburg. Sebring on the March 25th to 26th weekend. The road course in Indianapolis, of course, the 5/8 mile oval at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Over on Road America, Mid-Ohio's, the streets of Toronto. USF Juniors and Pro 2000, Todd, also running the Circuit of the Americas at the end of August, a week before Portland. So literally, they race at COTA. They pack the cars up, drive them across the country to Portland. Hopefully you got the car put together and you didn't break anything, and we're back on the racetrack for the championship weekend.
How's that for a learning experience if you want to go to the elite levels of motorsports and racing? It's
True.
That's you go to a big circuit, and then you have to prepare in a very short amount of time to be ready to go again just a few days later.
And take care of your race car, because you don't want your team up all night on Sunday night to get the car fixed so they can leave in the morning to drive a 3-day drive to Portland. So it's exactly the same distance as it was from Worldwide Technology Raceway, where we're not racing this year, from there, from Texas, all the way over to Portland. The same distance, but still for the truck drivers, so it's a 3-day straight drive. Get there, unload, and we're right back at it to see who's going to win a championship and who's going to win a scholarship of over $650,000.
9 laps remaining. Miles Rowe remains out in front now, just over a 2-second lead ahead of Kiko Porto, Liram Zadelli, Pizzi, and Brooks rounding out the top 5. Those guys have moved up just a little bit.
I'll tell you this. The Miles Rowe story is something that if he gets to the NTT IndyCar Series, it's either going to be a movie or it's going to be a book, because it's just been absolutely amazing. Of course, we all know about Penske Entertainment's the drive for equality and change. Of course, a Miles young black student who has so much talent, and first came in with Force Indy, a single car team. We talk about a single car team. He was behind the 8 ball all year long, a brand new team, and all together. He was just learning what he could. Then the rain came at New Jersey, and we always say the rain's the great equalizer. He stepped up and came to the forefront, and what a run. Late race pass, able to get the race win, but then he moves to Pabst, the powerhouse, and all of a sudden with Pabst, he comes alive. He shows what he's got. It's going to be a storyline. It's going to be a movie, and he's on his way to making it happen. This is just another chapter, right? This is like chapter 3 of what's going to be a tremendous book.
The Art of Racing in the Rain. Oh, that might have been used already.
That's something that was already been used. Correct. Miles Rowe looking to win. And this would be 3 straight years of a victory as well. Let's throw that out there. So he won a couple of years ago, his first year at USF 2000 in the rain. won a bunch last year, as we know, trying to win a championship. This would be his third straight year in the USF Pro Championship with a victory, which I think just adds another layer to the storyline that we've got here for Miles Rowe. But he's got work to do still. Let's not throw it all out here. 18 laps in the book, 7 laps to go for Rowe, but he's got a 2.1 second lead. His lap time's about a tenth quicker. Fastest lap of the race so far as well. When you're thinking about the championship, there's a bonus point for fast lap. Most laps led. He's out front right now. This is looking really good for Miles Rowe to cap off the weekend. Because I'll tell you this, he was third yesterday, and he wasn't happy. You know, the drivers that are like that, right? Not happy with third. There are some guys, I get a third, I'd be so happy. No, Miles, very conservative on the podium.
But again, that's setting the standard and understanding the level of excellence that you're trying to achieve.
Your expectations.
Exactly.
You're right, Todd. 100%. He'll be happy with this one, that's for sure. And the great thing is back-to-back years, but he's won here as well. He won here in the second race. Remember, if you go back to last year here at St. Petersburg, he was battling it out with Thomas Naveau, the D-Force driver. They were coming through 2 and 3, big wreck. Chase Denmark able to come through, and he was late in the race. He probably could have sat there for second, took the points, and been good, right? Didn't have the full budget. Remember the story last year was he only had the budget through to, I think, Indy, maybe it was even Barber. He wasn't able to finish the season potentially and had that big wreck. Like, why didn't you just hold on to second? He wanted the win. And then he came back the next day with the mindset of having that huge wreck. The team put the car back together, and he wins on Sunday. That's another character show there for Miles Rowe.
But that's our heart of a racer too. Is that teams would rather have a racer that wants more, that you have to maybe just slow down just ever so slightly, just kind of temper their enthusiasm just a little bit, as opposed to trying to motivate a racer to try to give them more.
I think Roger Penske used to say that about Paul Tracy, that you had to pull Paul back. But he wanted that other than pushing it, right? You don't want to have to push a driver to be more aggressive. I think any team owner in this paddock would rather have someone that went for it than sat back.
No question.
I will tell you that right now. 5 laps remaining. Rowe's lead now 1.9 seconds. Porto cuts into it by about a tenth of a second, maybe a little bit less than that. Liram Zendelli's been able to get by Pizzi, as we talked about. So Zendelli now up into the second spot, which is solid for him after, of course, some of the issues that he had earlier on. Zendelli yesterday finishing not too shabby, kind of in the middle of the pack. No, he was 16th. That's right. He had an issue to the end. He was 16th for Zendelli. So this will be a good finish for him currently in the third position. Pizzi runs in fourth. Driver started on the pole position. Christian Brooks in fifth spot. Missing in sixth. Seventh is D'Alba. Eighth is Graham Force. Ninth is Miller. 10th is Weir. As Jace Denmark has had some issues. Not sure what happened to Jace Denmark. We'll try to pick that up. Jace was running within the top 5, and I think it was third at one point. And Denmark, we'll visually pick that up. We've had some issues with transponders. They'll work their way out on the front straightaway right now. And indeed, who is in third spot right now? No, he's still on the racetrack. No, Denmark is still in the third position. So Denmark is still P3. Zendelli is fourth, and Pizzi is fifth. We just watched him physically come down. Here's an issue here. That's Nick Monteiro potentially. Did he have an issue coming out of turn number 10? Yeah, he's dog tracking. Okay, so that is indeed... We think that might be the 81 of Monteiro, who may have had some trouble. We'll see as they come in. Here comes the 4 of Escoto as well. Ricardo Escoto in the J. Howard driver development. Number 4 has gone off. He's lost his front wing. And I think an issue here as well for Monteiro, who's got rear suspension damage. He's going to bring it down to the end inside the racetrack as well. 4 laps remaining. Let me pick up whether or not this is Monteiro. I don't think. It's actually Salvador D'Alba. Oh, D'Alba has tapped the wall as well, likely coming out of 10. So D'Alba, his weekend just not going the way he wanted. Finished 7th in the first race. That is left rear damage for him. I want to think it probably happened coming out of turn number 9 then, and he limped it all the way in from turn 9.
Skirted across the track, the brush on the left side.
Yeah.
The banner and the missing front wing on the front of Ricardo Escoto is also indicative of corner number 4, because that is the color of the banner on the tires.
There you go. So let's reset. Rowe leads, Porto second, Denmark third, Zendelli fourth, Pizzi fifth, 6th is Brooks, 7th is Missing, 8th is Graham Force, 9th is Miller, and 10th is Weir. 22 laps down, 3 to go for Miles Rowe. 2 seconds up the road, trying to win in St. Petersburg for the second straight year. Last year got it done in USF 2000, trying to do it here in USF Pro 2000. It would be his third straight year with a victory, having won back in 2021 at New Jersey Motorsports Park for Force Indy in that wet weather race. And what a start to the season it would be for him. Remember, third yesterday, P1 today potentially. Joel Grandforce has got the fastest lap, so Rowe had fast lap, loses that one. Kiko Porto with a couple of second place finishes. He will not be disappointed overly with that. He would like some race wins, but Porto holding on to second. I think the two TJ Speed cars coming across the line here aren't done with each other either. No doubt about that. Pizzi still wants to go after Zendelli. Look at this. They're going side by side. Here comes the over-under. Pizzi trying to find a way by Zendelli. The two teammates for TJ Speed. All three TJ Speed cars currently in the top 10 for Tim Neff and the crew.
Word has come down. There are 2 laps remaining, and everybody's trying to get as much as they can in these closing couple of laps. That is good close racing by those 3 cars now.
White flag flying. Next time by for Miles Rowe. 2.2 seconds up. The young driver to New York, New York. Todd had already said, graduated from Pace University in the filmography, I believe. A lot of photography work. Again, so many different levels to Miles Rowe. But like I said, like any race car driver, when you strap them behind the wheel of a car, into the belts, put the helmet on, there's just a different mindset from race car drivers. It's totally different as an athlete.
There is a determination and a relentlessness that is in the minds of so many race car drivers that is absent from others in different disciplines, whether it be sports or other aspects of life.
Great. Final lap for Miles Rowe. This is when he's just got to knock it out. Keep the car a little bit off the wall. You don't need to be running at 110%. Maybe back it down to 95. Just hit those marks that one last time. You've already done it for 24 laps. Just one more, and you'll find yourself as a race winner in USF Pro 2000. You put your name in the hat for the championship discussion. Rowe, Portos, and then we still believe it's Denmark in third spot. Coming down now into turn number 10. Again, the initial run to third yesterday. And this kid is much talked about as it is. And to have success in the opening weekend of USF Pro 2000, start up the typewriters, folks. Lots to talk about. Here he comes out of the final quarter. He's now a winner in USF Pro 2000. Miles Rowe, victorious on the streets of St. Petersburg once again. Back-to-back years with a win for Miles Rowe. Kiko Porto coming home in the second spot. Third goes, I believe, to Jace Denmark. Indeed, they've got him into Jace Denmark into third. Liram Zendelli and Francesco Pizzi, fourth and fifth. Christian Brooks holding on to sixth spot. Seventh, Jordan Missig. What a great run for Jordan Missig as well. Coming back after the DNF from yesterday, the contact over in turn 4. He bounces back for a great run. Seventh for Missig, eighth for Joel Grandforce, ninth for Jack William Miller, and Christian Weir rounding out the top 10. So all 3 drivers from Pabst in the top 10. All 3 drivers from TJ Speed in the top 10 as well. They will be very happy with the way things played out there. Kiko Porto finishing in second. There is your unofficial results, folks. Rowe, Porto, Denmark, Zendelli, and Pizzi, your top 5. And Todd, I got to make that long trek down to Victory Lane to meet Miles Rowe, Kiko Porto, and Jace Denmark. 3 talented drivers. But Miles Rowe does it again. Back-to-back wins on years here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
Back-to-back victories and back-to-back podium finishes with Miles Rowe here on the streets of St. Petersburg. Here's a look at the rest of the unofficial results for the USF Pro 2000s Championship, race number 2, here to close out our program in St. Petersburg. Michael D'Orlando, 11th, Jonathan Brown, Nicholas Monterio, Bejoy Gard, and Jackson Lee in the top 15. A number of others beyond this had difficulty. Salvador De Alba, Ricardo Escato, Rishu Shijimi, Yuvan Sundaramurthy, and Lindsey Brewer in the 93 rounds out the field of 20 racers here in the USF Pro 2000 Series. on the streets of St. Petersburg. Final competitors making their way around the course and just coming down now through towards pit lane, and they will be met by their teams at the end to wrap up race weekend number 1. It has been a busy stretch for these USF Pro 2000 teams. As we discussed, they had spring training earlier this past week on Monday and Tuesday at Sebring, a couple of days to decompress and digest what they learned during the spring training sessions, and then it was immediately back onto the track here on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, for the USF Pro 2000 Championships and the USF 2000 Championships as well. And there is your race winner, Miles Rowe, in that number 99 from Pabst Racing. And what a terrific job by Miles Rowe, who started 5th, used the bunched up restarts to have the field come closer together and take advantage of both the restarts, and in particular that last restart where he was able to jump around Kiko Porto, who had taken the lead from Francesco Pizzi, who started on the pole position, and then it was Miles Rowe who snagged the lead away from Kiko Porto and would lead 16 laps on his way to his first victory in the USF Pro 2000 Championships. Kiko Porto second, Jace Denmark third, finishing up the podium. Rob Howden will have all of these racers on the podium for us in just a moment or two. We'll take We'll have podium celebrations momentarily. Let's take this opportunity to say thank you for joining us here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Fundy, and thank you for hanging with us for our final race of the weekend. We had incredible on-track action and activity right from the start of the proceedings on Friday, and we had a 100-lap action-packed NTT IndyCar Series race earlier this afternoon, with Marcus Ericsson scoring the victory, making a late pass ahead of Pato O'Ward, who finished runner-up, and Scott Dixon rounded out the podium. A quick break, and then we'll join Rob Howden for the podium ceremonies for USF Pro 2000.
Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Is the USF Pro Championships, the world's greatest motorsports ladder program with a proven formula. where top junior drivers from around the world come to compete across the best tracks in North America, where the opportunity to climb to the top is guaranteed, promoting every champion to the next stage, where champions are made and legends established. 52 races, over 50 up-and-coming drivers, and 3 scholarships valued at over $1.3 million. The USF Pro Championships, tomorrow's champions, forged today.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. With you and your truck.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're set to go to cap off this year's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. What a race that was. The Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, showing the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. The racing was great all the way through the field. Let's get started to bring up the driver coming home in third spot, his first ever podium in this program. Obviously, he was a race winner last year in USF 2000 here at St. Petersburg. He's on a podium here today for Pabst Racing, finishing third, Jace Denmark. And to present Jace with his third place trophy, all of our guests here from Anderson Interior Contracting, Carson Kale. Great run there for Jace. Was talking to him briefly, talking about how little grip there was offline. Those drivers really having to wheel these cars around, kind of coming in after the NTT IndyCar Series drivers, so tough. Great weekend for this pilot as well out of Brazil for D-Force Racing. Back-to-back second place finishes. How about a round of applause for Kiko Porto? And to present Kiko with his second place trophy, Justin Parks, another one of our guests, joining us here from Anderson Interior Contracting. What a great weekend it's been. Beautiful day here as well. Chamber of Commerce weather all weekend long. One more spot on the podium, folks. It's been 3 years. We've seen him win every year over the last 3 years. He won here last year after a horrible incident as well. Came back. Today, though, he wins here in USF Pro 2000. How about a round of applause for the Pabst Racing driver, Miles Rowe? Miles, you got that first win in New Jersey a couple years ago. You had the big wreck here in race one last year, but you came back and showed us what you were made of. What's it mean to you to win here, this next level up, just 2 steps away from IndyCar?
Just means all the hard work that Pabst Racing, Force Indy, Penske Entertainment, everybody on my team, the support my family gives me, it's really paying off. And, I'm just a really blessed person out here, and I'm just, doing the hard work and the trainings, paying off. And I'm trying to, keep it going and keep the momentum up all the way through this year. So it's a really good start, and just really happy.
Tell us about the racetrack. The NTT IndyCar Series was out there. There were marbles everywhere. What was the rubber like? How hard was it to control the car out there?
Yeah, man, this was one of my most difficult races in terms of like track conditions. I mean, the marbles made it extremely difficult. Even after the first safety car, it's like a lot of things changed in the track. It got really slick, and then it would start to grip up, and had to mess with the bias a lot. So it was really, you had to adapt a lot in this race. But luckily, I was on my toes, and I think it paid off in the end for sure.
Winning this early in the season is crucial. Does it make you feel any different right now? Take a little bit of weight off your shoulders?
No, it's just the same focus. This is such a tough year. There's so many good guys in the series this year. So it just, makes me want to work harder because I know it's just going to make it, more difficult to win. I got a target on my back. So.
Congratulations. Get up on top of this podium. And my winner today, Miles Rowe. What a big victory. Sarah Marquette's going to bring that P1 trophy up. It's a collection that Miles has got going. Won a bunch of them last year. His third year in a row, as I had said, winning. He won with Force India, that single-car team in New Jersey in that tough wet weather race near the end of the season there. And then, of course, turned things around with Pabst Racing last year, turned it up and was a championship contender as well. Just a tremendous run last year, and, of course, coming here with another victory as well. Back-to-back seasons with wins here in St. Petersburg. Let's get those trophies up in the air, folks. This is it, my podium in USF Pro. These drivers just 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Got a bunch of our guests from the Anderson Interior Contracting coming up to get some shots here with these drivers. These are the shots you want to take because these are the guys that are going to be in IndyCar in a couple of years. This is the future right here. Again, this is where we had Pato Award just a couple of years ago. Kyle Kirkwood, Renus VK, David Maluka. So many of the drivers are now in the stars in the NTT IndyCar Series. They were on this podium here in St. Petersburg running in this USF Pro 2000 category. This is the future of the NTT IndyCar Series, like I've said many times. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Guys, you guys can drop your trophies down if you want. We got some champagne to bring up here because it's time to cap off this year's Grand Prix with a traditional celebration, and these drivers earned this for sure. Chase Dunmark making his first visit to a podium in USF Pro 2000 competition. Kiko Porto's been here before, but he goes back-to-back 2 second-place finishes to put himself in the early championship hunt. And, of course, such a fantastic run. His third win in third times winning in a series, 3 straight years of victories. Miles Rowe, folks, with the win, guys. Grip it and rip it. Champagne time. The celebration begins for the drivers getting to the podium in USF Pro 2000. What a weekend it was. A lot of action. We had drivers in the wall. We had some able to get through the chaos. That is what racing at this level is all about, learning from start to finish. Big shout out to all the teams that started off this season. Once again, we look forward to going from here all the way through 6 months from now to the Portland International Raceway. We will find out which drivers will take their share of the $1.3 million discount tire driver development advancement scholarship. Lots of money up for grabs, as we know. Folks, thank you so much for being part of the action here. I'll send it back up to Todd Lewis to cap things off in this year's Grand Prix.
Thanks, Rob. Great job and congratulations.